Hi, I'm Steve Murphy, and welcome to the Insider Exclusive. Today, we are pleased to present our series of America's Finest Trial Lawyers with Tom Mesereau. Stay tuned. I am very pleased, once again, to welcome back Tom Mesereau. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Steve.
It's a pleasure. You are so busy that I'm glad you were able to come here today.
Well, thanks for inviting me.
And there's a lot of people going to be watching this show because you're one of America's finest trial lawyers, and I mean that in all sincerity. A lot of people say that, you pulled the rabbit out of the hat, but that's not really the case, is it?
It is not. In my opinion, I was representing someone completely innocent, someone who was attacked repeatedly by the media because they saw profits to be made on a conviction.
Sure.
And it was part of my job to make sure that didn't happen.
And we're talking specifically about?
Michael Jackson.
Yes. Tell us what the public should really learn from cases where celebrities are involved, like Robert Blake and Michael Jackson, when you have the media circus out there.
Well, first of all, celebrities are targets. They're targets of everybody. Mm-hmm. And law enforcement and prosecuting offices will throw more resources at a celebrity than anybody else. There's a misconception that celebrities, because they have resources, at least many of them do, can buy justice. That's a misnomer. What's thrown at them in terms of numbers of police, numbers of prosecutors, experts, investigative resources is so disproportionate to what most people face. Thank God they have resources because they are not treated the same. I call it celebrity injustice.
In the case of like Michael Jackson or Robert Blake, when you're talking about prosecutors throwing all these resources, there is also, for example, in some of those cases, prosecutorial misconduct or overreaching, isn't there?
Power tends to corrupt anybody. Mm-hmm. Human beings are the same, no matter what their job. They have fundamental basics of human nature that have to be understood. And power has a corrupting influence on almost anybody, and it can have a corrupting influence on a subconscious level. Someone may not think they're being corrupted, or they may not think they're abusing their power, but they are.
Right.
And one of the things about our political system and our legal system is we set up checks and balances to make sure that we can do our best to stop that from resulting in injustice.
Tell us why you became a lawyer in the first place.
You know, my father always encouraged me to consider law school, and I thought to myself, I really will listen to my father and try and get a law degree. I really didn't know what kind of lawyer I'd be. How
do you choose cases, or do cases choose you?
I think it's a combination. Mm-hmm. Obviously, people are always calling and trying to set up appointments. People will call through friends. There are a variety of ways they'll get in touch with our firm. We have a very small firm. It's just my law partner, Susan Yu, and myself. We were both co-counsel together in the Blake and the Jackson cases, and we work very well together. It's really a combination. I think that it always starts with someone calling me to see if I'm interested, or writing a letter.
Because of the high-profile nature of many of your cases now, you must be flooded with requests to represent people. What cases won't you take?
I don't think I have a real answer to that. Mm-hmm. I think criminal offense lawyers fulfill a very, very vital function in our system. And I'm often asked, would you represent someone you thought was guilty? And the answer is yes, because my job is not just to acquit innocent people. My job is to make the system work properly, to make sure everybody gets a fair trial and that our freedoms are preserved by the system working as it should.
Yes.
If you don't give people fair trials, if you let prosecutors and police abuse their power, if you let judges run amok when they shouldn't, you hurt all of us. Because once they get away with it, they will do it again and again and again. So every time you give someone a fair trial and make the system work, you help all of us, in my opinion.
When you talk about humanizing a client to the jury, take the case of Michael Jackson. How was your approach with the jury in humanizing Michael Jackson?
Well, he had been demonized so thoroughly by the self-serving media that wanted a conviction because they had a lot of money to make on a guilty verdict. It would create endless stories, probably for years to come. Stories from the prison about his suicide watches and his visitors and what he was eating, stories about his rise and fall, stories about what was happening to his music and his assets. And it was my job to let the jury know what kind of a human being he really is. And to do that, I had to get to know him. And what I learned was he is an extraordinarily sensitive, decent, honorable person, very humane, someone who took all of his wealth and his success and tried to use it to do good around the world. And it was my job to dispel all these myths that the dishonest media was propagating about him.
You're more than a lawyer. You are a volunteer in the community, and you received many awards for that. When you leave this set, you're going downtown, and you work with a clinic down there. Tell our audience a little bit about that.
I helped start a free legal clinic at a prominent African-American church in South Los Angeles, which is a largely black and Latino community. And lawyers and law students donate their time to give advice and direction to people who need help. And we meet at least 2 Saturday mornings a month. We also have guest speakers who come into the community to talk about various aspects of the law. Sometimes we have people who know a lot about the media come in to talk about cases, and it's a real community asset to bring people into this part of town to help others. It not only helps the people who are looking for direction, it helps the lawyer, it helps the law student become better people, and I'm a strong believer in that.
It's been well documented that the United States has more people incarcerated than any country in the world. That doesn't speak too well of the society, does it?
It does not. The last I heard, we were spending more money building new prisons in California than the entire education budget.
Yeah.
It's big business. You know, crime is big business, and unless you see it for what it is, you can get sucked into a situation where anybody can justify doing anything. The reality is our priorities are very, very screwed up in this society when it comes to what to do about crime.
What would you suggest changing, reforming the prison system so that society's safe, but at the same time, the people who are dangerous are kept locked up?
Well, when I was in law school, we were taught there were various purposes of criminal law. Obviously, punishment was one, protecting society was one, but another one was called rehabilitation. Our criminal justice system was supposed to have as one of its goals to rehabilitate people who've made mistakes or have problems. You never hear that word anymore, because now it's just lock them up and throw away the key, don't even try to change them, and that's a mistake.
Do you see that within the prison system, if they had better educational facilities, better encouragement so that when they got out they had a trade, do you see that as a solution?
Of course it is, Steve. These people are turned loose from prison. They have felony convictions. Nobody will hire them. They have no money. What do you think they're going to do?
They're going to go back to a life of crime, the only thing they know.
Shouldn't we train them so
Yeah.
they don't commit crimes and hurt society? Give them a chance? Again, you have to change the mindset of politicians,
Yes.
because they only do what's in their interest. And it's politically desirable to always act like you're tough on crime. No matter how tough your laws may already be, politicians know that they can get votes by scaring people about the crime situation around them and by suggesting that they're going to be tougher than the last person. As long as that's the reality, it's going to be tough.
Right.
You know, if we ever become a society where politicians are valued because they actually find very, very humane, decent solutions to social problems, then we'll see a lot more progress. But right now, we're not at that place.
We live in a self-serving society.
We do, and becoming more so.
Yeah. For all the lawyers or would-be lawyers out there, what is the message that you want to send to them to conduct themselves, or why they should be in this profession? What's the best thing you can say to them?
Well, not only is it a desirable profession in terms of making a living, and not only are we blessed to have a law degree and the options we have, it is a profession where you truly can make a difference.
When you wake up every day, you feel glad about being who you are.
I think so. You know, we all have our good days and bad days, but I'd like to think so.
You've accomplished a lot, and we are real privileged and honored to have you on this show, and I want to thank you for being on the show again, Tom.
Thank you very much.
Come
I
back
appreciate
again.
it. Thanks so much.
Okay? Thanks for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed our show, and you can catch more of our shows at www.insiderexclusive.com. We'll see you next time. Thank you.